Hello, everyone. Welcome to the seventh episode of the Pons Talk. My name is Kai.
And my name is Nicole.
And we are from Dulwich College, Singapore, and we will be your hosts today.
In this podcast series, we will be interviewing members of the Worldwide Alumni Network on their personal and professional development, social engagement within the Education in Motion alumni family, and pioneering change to create positive global impact.
Today's guest, dialing in live from Beijing, is HIF alumni Nevin. Hi, Nevin. Congratulations on your performance yesterday in the Beijing Olympics. How are you, and how are things for you over in Beijing?
Thank you. I'm good. I recovered a little bit from yesterday because I was not satisfied with my result. It was a little bit of disappointment. I could not make the finals of the best 16 riders. Yes, that's how it is. But the journey to get to the Olympic Games was very positive, and I'm very proud to have been at the Olympic Games for the fourth time already. So with a little bit of distance, I'm pretty happy and I'm proud. But the event was not that great for me. Yeah.
How is it over in Beijing right now?
I'm 5 hours out of Beijing.
Okay.
In the Olympic. We are in the Olympic Village. I don't even know how to spell it right. It's called one with the Zhangjiakou or something like that.
Okay.
It's the Olympic Village where all the snowboards events are, where ski jumping is, where ski cross and snowboard cross is, and so it's nice, very nice here, but cold, super cold, way too cold.
Yeah, that's cool. It's insanely hot over here. It's like 35 degrees every day, so it's a big difference from what you're experiencing over there.
Is this your first time in China?
Yes, it's my first time in China. 2 years ago, actually, we had a snowboard World Cup here in China. It was kind of a test event for the Olympic Games, but I was injured, so I couldn't go. So this time is my first time. Yes.
How did you find the opening ceremony?
So I wasn't there. I wasn't actually attending the opening ceremony because the transfer from here to Beijing is 4 to 5 hours.
Oh.
And it was kind of close to my competition. So it would have been a little bit, the preparation for my event would not have been perfect. So our snowboard team decided to stay here, and we watched it a little bit. I watched it a little bit in TV, but would have been awesome to be there. Yeah, but I missed it.
It's a real honor for Kai and I to meet and interview you, considering you are a four-time Olympian and professional athlete who has accomplished so much in your career. So what would you consider your proudest moment or highlight to date?
There's a clear list. Number one is definitely when I became a father. 3 years ago, my twins were born. That was by far the most intense day of my life, for sure. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. From an Olympic perspective and sports perspective, what is your favorite thing about competing in the Olympics, would you say?
I think what makes the Olympic Games so special is the fact that they are only each and every 4 years. So you train really hard, you invest years of your time to even go there. And then 3 guys go home with a medal, and the rest will most likely be a little bit disappointed, at least. So the moment when it counts, the moment when everything comes together to one day, I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoy it. On 2 Olympic Games, I performed really well. Where I won 2 medals. Yesterday, I was on the other side, but I really enjoy that moment that is so rare in my life. Like I experienced it four times in my life, and I'm doing this sport since 20 years. So that's what I really love.
Yeah. We really appreciate all the hard work you put in. So how do you prepare yourself for all the pressure right before the events?
That's a very good question. And in my eyes, the mental work is as important as technical work in snowboarding, as the physical training in the gym, and as nutrition and all the puzzle pieces that have to come together. The mental side is something that I started training on a very early stage when I was in high school. I started training the mental side of the game. There are very easy concepts. Like one concept is the concept of visualization, to be able to visualize what will be the challenge and to prepare in your mind what you need to perform. Another thing is how to deal with stress, how to cope with when you're nervous, when you can't sleep, when you can't eat, for example. If you are very nervous, maybe you had the situation as well before of an exam, or if you have an important speech to make, how to deal with these situations. I made myself like a toolbox with some tools that I know these tools work in the certain situations. The toolbox got better with every year, with more experience. Toolbox got better. Right now, I feel very confident to be able to perform under pressure as well.
Wow, that's great to hear that you have so many mental preparations and ways of coping with this. So has it become more like a routine for you before every single major event? Or is there anything like specific that you recommend to younger athletes coming up on ways to deal with pressure?
Yes, I think first the first step is to acknowledge the mental part of the game is also an important part. Sometimes I see young athletes that in the first years of their career, they're not focusing on the mental side. They're just focusing on their sport, which is also super important, I understand. But I think it's important to acknowledge at an early stage of your career that it will be at some point, it will be super important when you are at the biggest stage and you're already prepared to deliver your performance on point, then you're ahead of your competitors. First thing, acknowledge that it is important. And the second thing is maybe to work with a sports psychologist, work with professionals. There are some shady guys in the business as well. Don't work with them. Work with professionals. There are very good concepts, proven concepts, that we can work on your mental game.
So my next question, more about the physical side of your routine. When you were our age in high school, how were you preparing yourself physically in terms of nutrition and sleep?
So let me know how old you guys are.
I'm 16 right now.
And I'm 17.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let me think back to when I was in high school. I think, sleep. I probably did not sleep enough during this age. Yeah, and nutrition. I'm very lucky that I could live at home and go to school from my family's home. And, my parents took care of the nutrition. So I think I ate healthy. I'm lucky that I have a very good digestion, I think. So I always ate a lot of food. I emptied the fridge always. With 16, I was already working pretty hard. So I had 4 to 5 conditioning trainings a week, and at least 2 or 3 snowboard trainings on top of it. So I think at 16, you're becoming like a full-grown man. I think you have to start getting pretty professional or already in your age.
Thank you. That's great feedback. And I'll try to use that more and also get that sleep, which is very important, like you said.
What sport do you do?
I play football. I'm a goalkeeper.
I play football as well, and I'm a defender.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been playing all my life. So I hope to, in the future, also become a successful athlete like yourself.
Okay.
Did
Awesome.
you know when you were 16, 17 that you wanted to compete at a national and international level?
To be honest, no. When I was 16, 17, when I was in high school, my biggest goal was just to be better than the guy next to me, than my friends. That was my world, was just me, my friends, We battled each other. We had a really good group of guys. But then everything changed when I finished high school and when I decided not to go to university right away, but I decided to put everything on the sports card. Then everything changed. I had to decide for my own life. I was saying, okay, I'm going to skip or I'm going to postpone the university. I'm going to try to become a professional athlete. And then I had a vision to become professional, to become the world's best. That was always my dream, my vision. My goal was to get into the Swiss national team first. But my vision and my dream was always, then it started to become a dream to be the best in the world. But it started after high school, because during high school, everything was planned for me. I did not need to think for myself. I had a coach, I had a week schedule, school training, everything was easy. But after that, I had to make my own decisions.
So for myself, I'm also most likely going to go to university. But like you said, do you think that it is essential for you to reach the top level to delay the university process? Or do you think there's still a pathway where you can go to university and still become a top athlete?
100%, I think there is a way to do both. 100%. In Switzerland, I don't know how the situation is in Singapore, but in Switzerland, 15 years ago, when I finished high school, I know I'm old, 15 years ago, there were not too many universities that allowed athletes to study part-time or to study remotely. Like the lectures were not digitalized, so you had to be there. You had to do the exams when they told you to do the exams. And in the last 15 years, things changed a lot. So right now in Switzerland, there are a lot of opportunities to train, to learn from distance, to do distance university. And that's what I did in the last 7-8 years. So now I just finished my master's degree in business administration because there were new ways to study, digital ways to study, part-time opportunities to study. So now it's different. If you find something in Singapore where you can combine sports and university, in my eyes, that would be the best.
Thank you. How did it feel when you were preparing to become a professional athlete while all your friends and classmates went off to university? What was your mindset at the moment?
I mean, in the beginning, it's pretty cool when you travel around the world, when you are your own boss and already make a little bit of money, and your friends have to go to school every day or to university every day. But then when after a couple of years, when they finished their bachelor's degree, some of them continued with their masters, others started to work a little bit. They make quite some steps on their career. For me, it took 10 years after finishing high school to get to the top of the world. And during these 10 years, my friends, they also progressed a lot in their business careers. So it's not that easy always to just focus on sport, because as an athlete, you know your time is running up at some point. I'm 35 and I'm not going to do this for another 10 years. I'm going to maybe do this for 1 more year or 2 more years. And then I have to do something else. I have to do a second career. And that's why it became clear to me that I had to invest into my education the same way as I did it in high school, in the HIF, to combine sports and education. And I found this opportunity where I just finished studying now. And I think it's super important to try to combine everything and to be ready for the second career.
Thank you. Congratulations on your degree as well on business. And is that something that you're going to most likely pursue in the future and use once your career is done? Or what are your plans and goals for now that you finish this Olympics, your new objectives from now on?
Objective number 1 is to be available for my kids a lot more. And objective number 2 is to combine the world of business, what I learned during my university, with the world of sport. I see myself in a field of sports management, sports marketing, and something that I will do for sure starting next summer is to be a lecturer myself in a sports management bachelor's degree. So I'm going to share my knowledge with young students. To me, this is like a dream to combine sports and management to share my experience.
That's really amazing. And I think that's something I would also like to consider one day after university. Moving on to a next topic about the pandemic. What challenges, if any, have you faced from the pandemic?
I was always, during the whole pandemic, I was very privileged, and I'm very grateful for that. So the way I live in Switzerland is like typical Swiss. We have a house, and there's a lot of green space around it. So even during our lockdown in Switzerland that lasted a couple of months, I was always able to go outside. Of course, we were a little bit, we couldn't see friends and stuff, but we were really privileged. We were always going outside. We had a lot of space available for us. Considering my job as a professional athlete, our snowboard season was like 80% normal. A couple of events got cancelled, but the possibility to work, to compete, in my case, was always there. So we were able to travel around the world, compete in our events, of course, with a lot of security measures, with testing and everything. But I was very fortunate during the pandemic, and I know other people weren't. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's really good to hear that you were able to continue sport. Here in Singapore, the restrictions are very tight and controlling. So it's been hard for us to get a lot of games and fixtures in. So yeah, that's great to hear from you. And I'm also very aware that you attended HIF, and you've mentioned it a couple of times in this interview. And what exactly does HIF stand for, and how has it influenced you to become a professional athlete?
So HIF is a very, very small school on a mountain village above the mountain villages. It's really like very remote and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The view is like stunning. You see across the mountains, and yeah, it's a really nice located school. What's special about this school is because it is so small, the way they treat you is on a very individual level. If you struggle in math, for example, they will really take care of you. If you're in snowboarding, if you struggle in certain aspects in your sport, they will really look at you, at your problem, and you will never get the feeling that you are just a number. Every teacher and every coach, they know you by name. It's like a small family, and I really enjoyed my time there.
How long were you at HIF for? And do you think that is what partly inspired you to become a professional athlete?
Yeah, 100%. I went there for 6 years. That's the normal time you have to spend at a Swiss high school. So after 6 years, you graduate. That's exactly what I did. The school offers certain sports, certain disciplines, and snowboarding is one of them. And there were before me already a couple of very, very successful snowboarders at this school. So for me, it was just natural to follow them, to go to the school, and then to learn from their expertise on how to train, how to prepare myself, but also how to combine school and sport, learning how to take responsibility. You already start travel around Switzerland for events, sometimes a little bit in Europe. You have to take care of your snowboard. You are alone and you have to take responsibility. So at an early age, I was learning how to take responsibility for my actions. And I think that helped me a lot. And without this basis, I would not have made it to where I am now. 100% not.
Yeah, so as we said, we both play sport and we're very passionate about our sport. So as student athletes, there's a lot to balance with our sports life and our academic life. Do you have any tips on how you personally manage to balance your time between snowboarding and studies?
So one big advantage I had was that most of my friends were also going to this school and they were also doing snowboarding. So there was never really the question to decide where to spend time. Your day has only 24 hours. So you have to do school probably. You want to go to training, and then you have friends and other things you also want to do in your life, especially when you are 16. And I completely understand. But my advantage was that my friends were also going to this school and were also going to snowboard. So it was easy for me. It was very natural to just do this. And I never had the feeling that I'm missing a lot. So of course, I missed some things that other 16-year-olds would do. But because most of my friends had the same lifestyle as I had, it was easy. And I think as a 16-year-old, if I have to give you a tip, is this just to find the right balance. You don't need to live like a monk and don't do anything that is fun. I think you just have to find the right balance. Fun is also part of your life.
And what exactly inspired you to start snowboarding? At what age did you start it, and how did you really become passionate and love the sport?
So I actually always wanted to become a ski racer. That was basically my dream because my parents were both ski racers as well. My mom was actually pretty good. She competed on World Cup level. So my dream was becoming a ski racer. And then my older brother, he started to snowboard because snowboarding 15 years ago or 20 years ago was considered very, very cool, cooler than skiing. I don't know why. But then I had to do everything my brother did. I had to follow him. And then my brother started competing in snowboarding. And then, of course, I had to compete as well. And in the beginning, I did competitions in freestyle snowboarding, such as slopestyle and big air, then also in snowboard cross and also in snowboard racing. That's what I do now. So I was always doing a lot of different sports. And starting from 19 years old, I only focused on one sport. So to have a variety of sports is something that I also advise to younger athletes. Yeah.
Thank you. I also play a variety of sports there. That's great to hear. Personally, something that I really wanted to know was how was it and what was it like when you won your gold medal in the 2018 Olympics? So what was going through your head? And it must have been amazing. So I just really want to know what it was like for you.
So it's actually a funny story because 4 years before I won the silver medal, and I worked very hard for the next 4 years to try to make it golden. I had a plan for everything. I invested so much time in all the details. Then the day came. I felt really good. I felt strong. I delivered. I had a plan for qualification for 8 finals, quarterfinals, semifinals, for finals. And that's the answer to your question. When I crossed the finish line, my plan, there was no more plan left. So I actually felt very empty in the first moment. I felt like, okay, this is it. This is it. And the emotions, the joy, the tears and everything came like a couple of minutes later. The first moment was strange. You hear sometimes other athletes talking about this empty moment, and I never really understood. But I had one empty moment in my life now. I crossed the finish line and I was like, and now? Because I was sticking so hard to my plan, but the plan was done after the finish line. So I was like lost. In the first moment, I was lost. What should I do now? And then a couple of minutes later, I was like exploding and I was super happy. And when I saw my teammates and my coach, and then it gets really funny.
On your journey and pathway to reaching the top level, did you ever have any doubts or regrets, or did you always believe in yourself and know that you could get there at one point?
No, not always, not at all. I mean, my journey, it took, let's say, from the day I finished high school to becoming a Olympic gold medalist, it took me 13 years. And there were a lot of ups and downs. And I think that it's only human to also have doubts in between. I think this makes us reflect, what do we really want? Where do we need to invest more? I think that's completely normal, and we have to accept that our mind is not like a straight line, that sometimes there are doubts involved. What can you do against it? I think it's important to set goals that are realistic to achieve, but also to dream, to have big dreams. If you have a good setup with good people around you that support you, then if you have doubts, you have still a good environment and they will support you, because you will have doubts. I don't know a person that never doubted anything. So yeah, I always have had a dream, but the goals that I was setting for myself were realistic. Sometimes I achieved them faster, sometimes it took me a bit longer, but this kept me motivated to stay on course.
Just adding on to that question, and I think even in our sports careers, we've felt some sort of doubt. So it's really good to have your advice to making these realistic small goals. But have you ever had to sacrifice anything to achieve your dream?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. So one thing that we talked about is education. I postponed my education for a couple of years, but then also social life. When you invest so much time in sports and when you travel around the world, you see a lot of things and you get to know a lot of people. But my closest friends that I talked to you before about, the ones that I know from the time in high school, still today, they are my closest friends, but I don't see them a lot. I don't see them a lot. But when we see each other, it's like back in the old days. And then also with my family, since 2018, I'm a father. And during winter season, I don't see them a lot. That's a huge sacrifice. Now during the Corona pandemic, sometimes I was back home in Switzerland, but I was not allowed to see my family because there was the risk of transmission. Yes, these are sacrifices that I was always willing to take. But I think a sports career does not come without sacrifices. And the third point is the body. It's tough. It's tough when you have to train, when you have to do high intensity interval trainings. I think you know exactly how hard that is. So you have to sacrifice sweat, sometimes a little bit of blood. Yeah, but to me, it was always or nearly always worth it.
Wow, yeah, congrats again. But I think you mentioned earlier that you missed out on an event a few years ago and you couldn't go to China because of that. You've suffered from injuries, but how did you deal with that? And how has it helped you as an athlete when you overcame that challenge?
Yeah, I appreciate it even more when I'm not injured. Yeah, I was lucky for the first many years of my career to not have been injured at all. And then 2 years ago, I missed a whole winter season because I injured my back. I had a disc hernia and I had to do surgery. I missed the whole season. And before that, there was a season full of pain, like really, really bad pain. And I was, still going through it. I was like suffering a lot. And then I had the surgery. I couldn't ride for a year. And then I made my comeback last season, not this winter, last winter season. I made my comeback, but still there was some pain. It's not easy. For some athletes, it's part of the game. Certainly now for me, it is part of the game. But it makes me appreciate it even more. So, for example, now this Olympic Games in Beijing, I was super happy to just be here. Really, really proud and happy to have made it back from the injury, back to the top of the Swiss team, back to the best of the world, to be here and to compete. Of course, I wanted to do another medal, but still, it makes me appreciate everything a lot more.
I think back to what you're saying with your comeback. What was your mindset after you went through the surgery? What was on your mind to coming back to the place you are at competing at the Olympics?
So to be quite honest, I struggled to walk properly before the surgery. So my first goal was just I want to be able to walk again normally. And I want to be pain-free so I can be a dad, so I can play soccer with my kids. And, that was my first goal. Luckily, after the surgery, a couple of days later, I felt that the surgery helped a lot and it was a game changer. So then the real work started. Of course, again, same procedure. I had a vision to be back with the best of the world, and I set myself realistic goals. So first goal, walk without the wheelchair. Then second goal, do first squat movement. Third goal, make the first jump, and then go back to snow, go back to training on snow, go back to competition, and so on. So also during this time, I was very lucky to work with the best people in Switzerland. They supported me, and it made everything, even though that it was an injury and it's tough, we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot during this rehab time. It was in the end, it was fun. Yeah.
So you mentioned goals and objectives and realistic goals a lot. Do you feel that you've achieved all your goals and all your dreams for snowboarding and for your career? Or do you still have more to come, more to achieve? Or are you very happy with what you've achieved so far and already?
So if I would have that feeling, I would retire. But since I'm not retiring right now, I still have goals in snowboarding. Absolutely. A big dream would be to win the World Championships. That's the last big title that I don't have. I won a bronze medal at the World Championships, but it would be super awesome to win gold medal at World Championships. But apart from that, I won some really nice stuff. But my mindset is I try to not to look back during my career too much. I want to stay in the present because I think it's a huge privilege to live this life as a professional athlete. And I know it will come to an end at some point. I cannot do this until I'm 80 years old. So it will come to an end. It was my biggest dream as a kid to become a professional athlete. And I want to be the best athlete I can be during this time that I am able to be, to live this life. So I don't try to look back too much and think about what I already achieved. I want to just give my best every day and see how much more good things can come. So that's basically my mindset. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really inspiring and good to hear, especially as we're hopefully approaching our next athletic careers. Just to start concluding, what are you excited about when it comes to the idea of joining the worldwide alumni network comprised of alumni from education and motion schools, Dulwich, De Hong, and Green School?
I look forward to connect. It's a huge network. Coming from HIF with a very small network, this will be something completely different. And I look forward to connect worldwide. The resources you can get out of it is amazing. And of course, I'm open to share also my knowledge or experience. And on the other side, I'm very, very open to learn new stuff from also young athletes like you guys. Like, what are your challenges in life? Where are you struggling? What are your dreams? What are your objectives? That all sounds very interesting to me. And I think this will also be super awesome for my friends that went to school with me. So I'm really looking forward.
Thank you very much, Nevin. And thank you very much to everyone who is joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the 7th episode of the Pons Talk.
For more information on the Worldwide Alumni Network, please check out our website, alumni.dulwich.org.
Stay tuned, and we are looking forward to having you with us next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Nevin. We really appreciated your time, so we hope to see you soon.
Thank you for having me.